Magazine readers voted #1 talk radio show in Arizona.
#1 during your morning commute.
#1 whenever news breaks during your day.
And #1 whenever and wherever you want to talk sports.
Now it's time for Monty in the Morning.
That song always makes me dance, by the way. Hi, it's Friday. What's up, MFers? It's January 22nd. This is the Monty Show. Make sure you find us on the YouTube machine and hit subscribe. Really would appreciate if you'd also thumbs up our videos, but whatever. At least you hit subscribe, right? The Monty Show. MONTY, The Monty Show on YouTube. Hi, Jake.
Hello.
You ready to rock and roll today? You seem a little fired up. You get a lot of sleep last night?
Yeah, man. Not any more than I usually do, but sure, we could say that.
You know what I want to start with today?
What's that?
Now, we'll talk CBD some other time. When I take CBD, I sleep better.
Mm-hmm.
I just want people to know that.
Okay.
Like,
so when you get high, you sleep better.
Right. When I smoke weed before I go to bed, which
Right.
I've actually, in all seriousness, I've never even smoked a J. But when I take CBD, it puts my mind at rest. Like, I sleep better. Have you ever taken CBD?
I have not.
Would you consider it?
Yeah, I would.
Why, like, okay, but why haven't you at this point?
It just hasn't. I don't know.
You just haven't?
I don't know. There's not a reason.
That's fine. Why don't we talk the National Football League? Speaking of weed. What? The point is, hey, it's medicinal. It's for medical purposes.
Right,
I need it.
right.
I get headaches.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, you know. Look, when you're all gas and no brakes, sometimes things happen in life.
All gas, no break.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, man.
You know.
You know?
You're going to hear that in full, and it's amazing. JETS, Jets, you're still terrible. Let's talk about the NFC Championship game. It's going to be a long show. The NFC Championship game is Tom Terrific. It is Aaron Rodgers. It is the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field.
Right.
Hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Uh-huh.
And I think this is one of the most intriguing matchups we've had the entire playoff season. And I say that because I think we've had some really good quarterback matchups. Hell, we saw Tom Brady and Drew Brees last weekend. But now we get Tom Brady against Aaron Rodgers. And I think undisputed heavyweight champion of the best quarterbacks ever is Tom Brady with 6 rings.
Yeah.
He has a chance to get to 7 now, a real opportunity. He's in the NFC Championship game. That's one story. The other story is Aaron Rodgers' legacy, not only as a football player, but as a Green Bay Packer man, because this will be his 5th NFC Championship game, and he's only been to 1 Super Bowl. Yes, he won it. But is Aaron Rodgers desperate to get this win? And I know we've talked about this week, but I've really put a lot of thought into it. I've looked into his performance, his maturation as a quarterback. And you know what, Jake? I don't see that Aaron Rodgers, at this point today, can be considered one of the best quarterbacks of all time.
Yeah, well, I think it's tough when you've only got one, number one, but then number two, when you had that big downturn in your career for several years, and now you've picked it back up again. You know, the difference between Brady and Rodgers is Brady's never really had a fall off. He's had an injury that kept him off the field, but other than that, he's been, as Saleh says, all gas and no brake, right?
All gas, no break.
No
straightforward, buddy. Like, that's just how it is with Tom Brady. So, yeah, I do think, I think desperate's probably a strong word, but I do think that Aaron Rodgers needs this win and at least needs to play in this year's Super Bowl to, help his legacy. Your reference on yesterday's show to LeBron and them kind of being in the same situation of getting to conference championship games but not winning is a great point. LeBron's been to how many finals now? And four rings?
Four rings, yep.
Of like 10 finals. And a lot of people will tell you, well, just getting to the finals 10 times or 11 times now is greatness in and of itself. And I'm saying it's not greatness because you play to win the game. Great, you got there, but you didn't win. What's the point, Oh, that's right, you just put the mileage on your body. So, I don't know, man. I do think he needs this. He needs this. Tom Brady definitely does not need this to be solidified as the GOAT. Like, he's pretty much the GOAT already. But to get 7, to beat Aaron Rodgers doing it, to beat Drew Brees doing it, that'd be a hell of a story.
Yeah, and the other thing that I think is so interesting is if you look at the split of quarterbacks, you have 2 guys that are have been in this league over a decade, and Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, both of them are pushing, they're closer to 20 years and 10 years.
Yeah.
And then, in Chiefs Kingdom, you have two quarterbacks that are, Patrick Mahomes, this question about concussion protocol and is he healthy? Is he going to play? What kind of ability is he going to have? I think there is quite a bit of question about that. I also look at Josh Allen, who should be flying high with the Buffalo Bills. And, this team is playing really good football, and you're looking at a situation where Josh Allen, if he wins this game somehow, and I don't think they're going to, but let's say that the Bills go to the Chiefs and they win somehow, Josh Allen, I think, takes over that mantle as the best young quarterback in the NFL, and all of a sudden you're wondering exactly where the Chiefs are. Having said that, I don't think that's going to happen, and we're going to give you our pick on that game in a minute. But if I look at all four of these quarterbacks and what's on the line this weekend, I don't think there's any question that Aaron Rodgers has the most on the line, he has the most to prove, and he has the most to lose. Because if Aaron Rodgers loses this game, there are going to be real questions about why they drafted Jordan Love. There are going to be real questions about Aaron Rodgers' long-term fit with the Packers at this point. And I know that sounds crazy, but we've already had this conversation where, the Packers drafted Aaron Rodgers' replacement, and they did. Love is absolutely his replacement. I don't think there's any question about that. But this organization should have won more championships than they've won. And you can blame that on Fathead McCarthy. You can blame that on the now late Ted Thompson, who passed away this week. You can blame that on a lot of different people. Somebody needs to start pointing the finger at Aaron Rodgers because he's the quarterback of this franchise, Jake, and frankly, I just don't think he's been good enough over the last several years.
Yeah, I would agree. Good enough by his standards is winning championships, and yeah, there's a lot that goes into winning championships in the National Football League. But I think I compare him to Tom Brady, and I say, hey, Brady did it with way lesser talent, right? Like Brady did it with an elite defense and pretty much nobody on offense. You're talking about guys like Chris Hogan. You're talking about random-ass guys that he turned into big play guys because he was just that damn good. And that's the difference. And truly, that's the difference. Aaron Rodgers' game is predicated on rolling out left or rolling out right, creating chaos, and having the big play. And that's the problem. I feel like that is like being too reliant on the big play hurts you in playoff games. And this is the real concern I have about this game for Aaron Rodgers is that Bucs defense, because you're not playing some average ass defense. You're playing a physical defense that has speed. They know how to get the job done. They're very responsible in their assignments. So I have a lot of concerns about that. I'll be honest. I don't think that it's just going to be, hey, we're at Lambeau. Aaron Rodgers is Jesus Christ when he plays at Lambeau, and they're going to win this game easy. I don't think it's going to be that at all.
Well, I don't think so either. And as we get into this game and you start to look at some of the matchups, I think Valdez-Scantling is an absolute pivotal figure in this game. Watching a lot of their big moments over the last month of the season, even here in the playoff game, he has been a guy that routinely makes a play. And obviously, Lazard's catch last week was a backbreaker, but if you look at Valdez-Scantling, he's a guy that Aaron Rodgers looks at and relies on. And I think you can't take too much away from that. I think obviously they're going to have to run the ball. They're a very physical style running team. Looking at plays that Jamal Williams has run for this team, he is a physical, bruising, run after contact machine. And I look at Jamal, and I know that he's not the number one, but I look at some of these secondary players for the Packers. Those are guys going to have to carry the mail here because they typically push the team forward. And I don't mean to be cliche about this, and I know we talk about this on a regular basis, but these star players are not the ones who win championships.
Right.
It's Chris Hogan. It is, and I think that's a great example with the Patriots. It's a guy like a Chris Hogan. Tom Brady's got to give him the football. I get that. But it's guys like LeGarrette Blount who have historically really made a difference for the New England Patriots. And so when I look at the Green Bay Packers, Jake, they're going to have to get more than Davante Adams if they're going to go and win this game. The Rodgers-Davante Adams connection is massive.
Right.
I would put it with Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill. There's no question. The thing that they have in common is Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams will run the same play out of different formations. It's the exact same pattern, but yet they disguise it. They make it look different, and it has the exact same result.
Right.
And to me, that's when you become a next level connection. But I don't think those two are enough for the Packers to win this game.
No, and I think if we look at what the Packers did last week, leaving that game, everybody was talking about the fact that you've got a three-headed running attack, right? You've got three running backs who can get the job done for you. And what that allows them to do is that allows them to keep fresh legs in the backfield constantly. And so as the game wears on and as you're playing against these physical backs, the defense starts to wear a little bit, right? That happens in every NFL game. But the difference is because you're rotating three backs through that backfield, and Aaron Rodgers is cool with that, you have fresh legs later in the game, and that's why we see them wear teams down. So I think, first of all, the running attack for the Green Bay Packers is either going to win them or lose them the game in the first half, in my opinion. That's the first thing. The second thing is if they can run the ball effectively with those guys in the first half, I do think Davante Adams will have a big night if they can run the ball. So if you're the Bucs, that's your first priority as a defense. You cannot allow them to run the ball, and you've got to put Aaron Rodgers in a situation where he has to make plays down the field. Because if you can do that, your opportunity to turn the football over is much higher, and if you can turn Aaron Rodgers over, your chances of winning that game goes way up.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things where you start to look at the time of year that we're in, and you start looking at things like injury reports. I look at the Packers injury report, and I'm surprised they're in such good shape. I mean, you had some guys that are limited. Mercedes Lewis is an older dude, didn't practice yesterday. He'll be fine. Zadarius Smith, guys like Jamal Williams. They're gonna be fine.
They're gonna play.
They're going to be ready to go. And so when I look at guys like Antonio Brown, who hasn't practiced this week yet, I look at guys like Jason Pierre-Paul, who's not practiced this week yet. Those guys worry you a little more. The fact that Ronald Jones can't run at full speed worries you a little bit.
Yeah.
Health-wise, I think it's certainly on the side of the Packers with the guys that are on the roster right now, because obviously you've lost some key pieces, especially on the offensive line there. But the guys who are going to play, I feel like the Packers are healthy and in good shape. But I also look at some of these matchups, and the thing that really worries me is I look at Tom Brady, and I look at the way that they use him, Jake, and I see that a lot of these matchups go to the Bucs, and it's something that when I look at this, and I was reading the NFL.com preview, and I thought there was a really interesting point in there in that when Tom Brady selected the Tampa Bay Bucs, it shocked everybody.
Uh-huh.
But you kind of now understand why he did that. And I feel like the choice to go to Tampa for Tom Brady has been validated at this point on both sides of the football. Like for Tom Brady, you're in the NFC Championship game. What more could you ask for?
Agreed.
For the Bucs, you're in the NFC Championship game. What more could you ask for?
Agreed.
Right? He brought you Antonio Brown and Rob Gronkowski, so he's grown your offense.
Yep.
Largely, those two guys have been trouble-free, which is more surprising for Antonio Brown than anything. But I think this has been a really good relationship. And then I look at the other side of the football and I say, hey, the Green Bay Packers, I think they have everything on the line. I mean, you look at the fact, and I don't mean to be redundant, I don't mean to go too far with this conversation. This team drafted Jordan Love.
Yeah.
They didn't go draft another running back, a prime-time running back.
By the way, it should be pointed out, if you don't know who Jordan Love is, because let's be honest, Jordan Love did fly a little below the radar, right? Went to UVU, did some things, had a nice college career there.
Utah State.
Yeah, or Utah State. Sorry, I said UVU. Utah State, but he's known to have a cannon of an arm. He's known to be a gunslinger, and that's why they drafted him, because who do they have at quarterback? They've got a guy and a gunslinger. Who'd they have before Aaron Rodgers? Brett Favre, right? So this organization is not playing around with their quarterback position, and I think this kind of works two ways, and this is a really, to me, in the NFL, this is kind of a overreaching conversation that everyone loves to have. Is it a curse or is it a blessing to have a guy like Aaron Rodgers, or to have a guy like a Phil Rivers when he was a Charger, like that kind of guy in your organization that's going to solidify the spot? But if he doesn't win, is that a curse? Because you're going to look like an idiot for getting rid of him, but if he does win, you look really smart, you know?
I think it was a really good move by the Packers to draft Love. Yes, you would have liked a running back, another wide receiver, a weapon, if you will. You would have loved, anything other than a backup quarterback probably would have placated Aaron Rodgers. But you're not here to placate Aaron Rodgers. You're here to solidify the future of the Green Bay Packers with the draft. And I think they did the exact right thing. I think you can go and get quarterbacks. I mean, I look at the fact that the experiment with Tom Brady was not an instant success. I mean, early in the season, they couldn't throw the deep ball. He had real problems throwing the deep ball. But you look at Tom Brady over the last month of the season, he led the league in deep ball completions, touchdowns, and passer rating on deep balls thrown. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's called developing chemistry.
Right.
So they become a more lethal weapon as the season's gone on. Now, I don't think the blowout win over the Packers is really anything to
measure,
to hold your hat on. I just don't think it matters. You're looking at two guys that are professional quarterbacks. I mean, I think Tom Brady's played well. Aaron Rodgers has clearly been on mission all season long. Mm-hmm. He is out to prove a point. I just wonder. Is Aaron Rodgers and this idea that he's made all these lesser parts better? And I think NFL.com put it, Aaron Rodgers has raised all ships. That might be true, but that tends to dissipate when the pressure is on. And that's why I said, I wonder if guys like Valdez-Scantling or Lazard, I mean, are those guys going to be able to step up and have big performances in a game like the NFC Championship? And it means something when you are a secondary contributor.
Yeah.
And you look across the field, or when your offense is on the sideline, and you have a guy like Valdez-Scantling, when you have a guy like Jamal Williams staring out at the field, and it's Tom Brady, and it's Rob Gronkowski. The natural reaction is, holy shit, man, they've won 6 championships.
Yes.
That's the natural reaction. There's tons of championship rings on the field, and none of them are ours.
Yeah.
Like, that's a natural reaction. And that's fine, but how do you deal with that? You are at home. The excuses of pressure shouldn't be there. Mm-hmm. Tom Brady's not going to be nervous before this game.
No.
He's not going to be nervous to a point where it impacts his performance.
And by the way, him not being nervous makes it so that roster's not nervous, because he's leading the hell out of that team. And I don't know how many people have been following the Bruce Arians, Tom Brady relationship, but Bruce straight up said he lets Tom Brady coach sometimes. Like, he lets Tom Brady control this team. And that's why they're in a great position, frankly, because Tom Brady's been here, he knows how to win, and he knows what it takes, and he's taking them there.
Yeah, and I look at the matchup of these Buck linebackers, and I say to myself, Devin White and Levante David versus these running backs in Green Bay, and their running back by committee. White and David have made a living eating running backs this year. I mean, those guys are so fast and so physical that they tend to take space away from running backs. And whether that's in the running game, they're great gap fillers. When you talk about the passing game, because Aaron Rodgers does throw the football short a lot, they're quick enough that they don't give you run after the catch yardage, which is something we saw last week, I think, when we watched Aaron Rodgers chew up a really good defense against the Rams.
Yep.
But by the way, that is the Rams are built for warm weather. That was clearly not the case at Lambeau.
And they had some major injuries, too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the thing that differentiates this Tampa Bay Buck team from that LA Ram team is that you have guys who have made their legacies in cold weather.
Yes.
And again, I don't mean to keep going back to what happened in New England, but when I look at guys like Antonio Brown in Pittsburgh and Gronk in New England and Brady in New England, and you have road graders up front, their offensive line has played really well. You have physical, will, spirit, soul-crushing linebackers in Tampa. I think this Buck team is going to be fine, running the football. And I think when you look at Jones, Dillon, and Williams, they're really going to have games. Now, A.J. Dillon obviously is hurt. He's not at 100%. he's really an important part of that running game. He's really emerged late in the season as a guy that they got much more comfortable with.
Yes.
And with him being injured, if he is not 100%, if he is not full rotation, I think that's a real loss for the Packers because he can push after the run.
Yeah, and Dylan's a big boy.
Or after contact.
Yeah,
he is a big boy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But when these running backs and quad injuries are absolutely real. There are a lot of things that people don't think about is with COVID, there was a lot of missed practice time this season. And those are big reps that you're missing. So that's absolutely something to keep in mind. I also think you got to get more from Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown has to step up and perform this week.
Yes.
He has been okay. He has not been a focal point of defense.
He's made the plays that he needs to make. But he hasn't been Pittsburgh Antonio Brown. We haven't seen that yet. And I think, I think overall for this team, I think if they're going to go in here and win this game, you're going to need a big play out of Antonio Brown for a touchdown.
Absolutely.
You're going to need that go route to connect. You're going to need Mike Evans to stop, just messing around. They need Mike Evans.
Well, I think Mike
catches.
Evans is legitimately hurt. I mean,
I'm
you can
sure
see he's
is.
at 65, 70%. I mean, he has trouble getting up on some of those plays.
Yeah.
And we don't know exactly what that is, hip back-ish.
Yeah.
That's tough for a wide receiver.
I know. I'm just saying that, if it's what you always say, if you're on the field, the expectation is there, and I'm not trying to be, cold-blooded about it, but in the NFL, it's very simple, man. If you're on the field, you got to make the play. So if you're going to say to a coach, hey, yeah, I am 60, 70%, but I can play.
Yeah.
And then you drop the big catch. Oh, well, I was hurt. Well, you were on the field and you said you could play. So he needs, Mike Evans will be a factor in this game if they win the game, in my opinion.
And I think the Bucs are going to win the game. I've looked at this a lot, and I think ultimately it comes down to the physical nature of that Bucs defense. And I think the one thing that really separates Tampa from the Rams, again, I think they're dirty, nasty football players, so cold weather's not going to bother them. And I think I look at those linebackers, and they have the ability, the speed, the character, the mentality to take away a lot of what the Green Bay Packers like to do. And I think that ultimately will be the difference here. I think this is a 35-31. This could be a last 60-second field goal game. I feel like that's where we're at. I could see 34-31. I could see 35-31. I think this is going to be that kind of game. And in that kind of game, I'm going to lean Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Bucs to win.
Yeah, for me, I think this is going to be a grinder of a game, and then I think Tampa Bay pulls away in the fourth quarter. And so what I think that looks like is they'll go back and forth for most of the first half. They'll go back and forth, heading into the half. And then I do think something's telling me that Aaron Rodgers will have one turnover in this game, whether it's a fumble in the pocket, whether it's an INT. I don't know, but there will be a turnover in this game for the Bucs, so they will get an extra possession, and I think that extra possession will be the difference in the game because when I think about these kind of games, big-time game, championship caliber game, two heavyweights at quarterback, there's a lot on the line here. Tom Brady doesn't lose these games. Tom Brady's been down 28-0 and come back and won a game, right? Tom Brady has this experience, and so for me, yes, you're on the road, but Tom Brady was on the road in the Super Bowl, and it didn't matter. He still came back and won that game. And so I lean on those moments for Tom Brady, and I say, hey, to your point, he's not going to be nervous. They're going to be ready to go. And so that's why I say they're putting up 30 in this game, and I think they win the game.
Yep, I agree with that. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram, The Monty Show, Monty, The Monty Show. You can find Jake, SLC Supercars, on Twitter and Instagram. Of course, make sure you hit subscribe on YouTube. Just search The Monty Show, Monty, The Monty Show on YouTube. Let's flip the script, go to the AFC. Obviously, this is a big day for Josh Allen. This is the AFC Championship game. It is the Bills going into Chiefs Kingdom, MFers. I don't know why I threw that in, but it felt good. It is the Bills going to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs, and everybody wants to know if Patrick Mahomes is going to play. Stop asking that question. There's not even a doubt. Patrick Mahomes is going to play. Yes, he is in the concussion protocol, but they say it's not a traditional concussion. It was a nerve issue in his neck. He's practiced the last 2 days. I have no question that Patrick Mahomes is going to play. Is there a level of effectiveness you have to worry about? Maybe, but my guess is we're going to find that out on the first drive because the Chiefs are going to do what the Chiefs do. Andy Reid's going to wear an awkward face mask that is not a replacement.
It's a shield.
Yeah, it's a shield that's not a replacement for a mask. It's a supplement to a mask. Thank you very much. But he's going to wear that shield, and they're going to come out and they're going to throw the football all over the field, including to their running backs. And I think, and I hate to say this for the Bills, I think this is going to be a really, really, I'm not going to say big win, but I think the Chiefs are winning this game.
Yeah, I disagree. I think the Bills have a better shot than people are giving them credit for, and that's because they're a physical team. And I think, when I look at the Chiefs, they thrive against teams who play soft. They thrive against teams who are built on playing zone the entire game for defense and built to not stop the run. That's when they thrive. So they're gonna throw it out to the flat, and Kareem or whoever it is back there at this point is going to go out and get 5-6 yards from the flat, And so then I look at the Bills and I say, well, they're not going to allow that. You're not going to be able to just throw it in the flat, go and pick up 5-6 yards the whole game whenever you want to. That's not happening. So you take that away. I guarantee you that they are going to bracket Tyreek Hill the entire game. They're not allowing Tyreek Hill to get behind them. So, yes, there's a lot at play here for the defense, but I'm just telling you, I would not count them out. We cannot treat the Bills the same way we treated the Browns against the Steelers. We can't have that. This is going to be a closer game than people give the Bills credit for. And if it's late and Josh Allen has the ball driving down the field, don't be surprised if this is a field goal kind of game.
Well, I think we learned a couple of lessons about the Chiefs last weekend, and that is that they don't need to run the football to win. I think that's something that we have certainly seen. I look at the fact that they were a passing team last week, and they still won the football game. And you know what? What's interesting to me more than that is I look at the way that the Kansas City Chiefs are playing football right now, and I ask myself if Leslie Frazier, the defensive coordinator of the Buffalo Bills, can he call a game that he's comfortable calling? And the answer to that is I don't think so. He likes to get after the quarterback's ass, and he can't do that in this game because the Chiefs have proven time and again when Patrick Mahomes is under pressure, they are crushing a defense. They force you into quarters and zones and two deeps because A, the Chiefs are really fast.
Yeah.
B, the problem is you get sucked up by the run. And C, Patrick Mahomes is, I think, the best play-action quarterback in the NFL. And I think his ability to place a football into a guy like Travis Kelce in space, not behind him, not over his head, in space and in stride, is what separates this Chiefs team from anybody else the Buffalo Bills have seen. And I don't see the Bills being able to pressure the quarterback as much as they need to win games. And I think that's going to really hurt them because nobody's going to cover the Chiefs zone or man without getting pressure on Patrick Mahomes. I don't see how the Bills defensively match up in any way, shape, or form with this team.
Well, nobody matches up with this team. That's the thing. There's not a great matchup because they have so many weapons, and that's the challenge. How do you, so, okay, you're going to bracket Tyreek, but then you got to deal with Travis Kelce, right? Okay, well, you're going to bracket Tyreek, deal with Travis Kelce, but then what about the running backs in the flat, because you can't cover all of them. So, if the Bills are going to win this game, they're going to have to win it in a bit of a shootout. But I think they're okay with that. I think that they understand, hey, we're not saying that we're going to keep the Chiefs from scoring in this game. What we're saying is we can't let them put up 40. You can't have, you're not going to win a 40-point game with the Chiefs. You got to keep them in the 20s, and then you got to get a turnover. Like I said, both of these games that we look at, these teams that are on the road, you got to get a turnover. It's got to happen. That defense has to make a play to give the offense another opportunity. So, yes, the Chiefs should be the favorite in this game. Everything says to take the Chiefs, but I'm just telling you, don't be surprised if the Bills are in this game. They're a tough-ass team. They're not going to be scared going into that environment. And don't be surprised if they do hit Patrick Mahomes. I would be hitting him, too, after what happened last week.
Well, I think that there's a couple of things you have to consider here. One, I think the Chiefs are going to have a revamped run game this week. I think you saw with, Darrell Williams. I think you saw limited use out of Le'Veon Bell against the Browns.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to have to change. Because you don't have your typical allotment of running backs in this game.
Yeah.
And what that means is you're going to see a lot more of Tyreek Hill on jet sweeps, on pitches, on tosses, on misdirections. I think you're going to see a heck of a lot more quarterback draws. I think you're going to see a lot more, even more than we're used to with the Chiefs, a lot more boots. And I think that all of that is designed to get Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce in space in awkward matchups. And what again, and this is the thing that I don't mean to be redundant, but the Bills are not going to be able to play man against this team, against this Chiefs offense.
Mm.
There is no better tight end or wide receiver in the NFL than Travis Kelce at running through windows and zones and being ready to catch the football. And when you have a quarterback that puts it on you, I mean, it is a lethal weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not saying that the Bills are going to get blown out, because I don't think they are. But unless they come out and they've, sipped the sauce somehow and come up with a different game plan than anybody else in the NFL,
mm-hmm.
I mean, you're looking at a team that's 14-2. The Kansas City Chiefs are unbelievable, and they're really good at home in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I look at the differences between these teams, it really is the Bills' inability to get after the quarterback that will define this game. And I don't see how your balls must be made of 5 layers deep of brass if you're going to consistently blitz the Kansas City Chiefs. Because I just don't see how that's a recipe for success. And what the Browns have that a lot of people forget, and why they were so able to get after Patrick Mahomes last week, they have a guy named Myles Garrett.
Mm-hmm.
Myles Garrett hit the quarterback, ran down the field, and made a tackle.
Mm-hmm.
Like 15, 16 yards down the field last week. You don't have that, with all due respect. Ed Oliver ain't making that play. You know what I mean?
Whoa.
Oh, I just about knocked one of our light stands over.
We got some issues over here.
Whoa.
The light stand's going down. The computer's dying. Like, you got some stuff
Whoa,
you got to handle
bro.
over there, bro.
Whoa.
Okay, chill.
Easy.
All right, we got everything back in line. Everything's okay.
Man. Yeah, my big-ass size 15 shoes got caught. But the point is, Ed Oliver's not making that play for Buffalo. And
Yeah.
I think that should bring real pause. You don't have... I mean, what's your biggest reservation? Do you have a reservation about this Bills defense? Because I do.
Sorry. Look, I think, when you're playing the Kansas City Chiefs, they're going to make most defenses look silly, right? Like, they're going to execute at an extremely high level. That's why they have the record they have. That's why they've been a dominant team. But what I'm telling you is that there's no way that Patrick Mahomes is coming into this game 100%. So Ed Oliver doesn't need to get to him every single down. Ed Oliver doesn't even need to get to him half the time. Ed Oliver needs to hit the hell out of him when he does get to him. And he needs to send a message, and he needs to put Patrick Mahomes on the sideline for a couple of possessions.
But how often does that happen?
It will happen enough. I guarantee you he will get home at some point. Like, it will happen. And I know that you don't believe that, and I know that he's not Myles Garrett, but like
it's not that I don't believe that. It hasn't happened against the Chiefs all year. And yes, Patrick Mahomes has been hit, but a lot of those hits come on make good plays. And if you look at the way that Patrick Mahomes gets hit, he gets hit when he's trying to make a play. And so I don't know. I could be wrong. I mean, the thing that scares me is the Indianapolis Colts gave the Bills everything they could handle last week. I mean, everything that they could handle. Mm-hmm. There was a point where we were watching that game saying they're going to lose this game.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to lose this game. And now, they didn't lose that game.
It's not like the Chiefs had some great performance either, though.
Well, no, but you also lost Patrick Mahomes.
Right, but what I'm saying is they almost lost too. So what are we going to be saying if Patrick Mahomes gets hurt in this game? Like, I'm telling you, like, it's not like the recipe for success for the Bills is hold your water early in the game. Don't give up, 20 points in the first quarter.
Josh Allen's got to deal with that blitz.
Yeah,
you know the Chiefs are going to blitz. They always do.
They always do, and so that's why I say, like, just don't get your ass handed to you in the first quarter. I'm not saying you got to go out and dominate the Chiefs in the first quarter, but don't get blown out in the first quarter and find yourself behind before you're even going to halftime. You can't be down 2 possessions ever in this game. It's got to be a one-possession game the whole time, and then you got to come back in the second half. That's the recipe for success in the Bills in this game if they're going to have a chance to win the game. But let's be honest about it. Not a lot of people have been able to do that, but we're in the postseason. The Bills are a good team. They're a physical team. They've found a way to get it done. So I just think that this game is going to be a bit closer than a lot of people are giving them credit for.
And I will say that if Rashard Higgins doesn't fumble that ball on the goal line, and if Danny Sorensen doesn't make what I think was an incredible play.
That was an amazing play.
It was illegal.
It was.
But he made a great play. The Chiefs probably lose that game because Harrison Butker can't kick anymore, apparently.
Yeah.
And that's a name you need to watch. I mean, Butker's got to make his kicks. And I think because, to your point, I do think this is going to be a fairly close game. Like, I'm looking at numbers against the spread, and, you cannot send, and I know I keep saying this, you can't send the pressure that you sent last week against the Colts. You can't do that. And my question is, if you are, like, I think the guy that's the key to that Bills secondary is Jordan Poyer. Mm-hmm. And oddly, I told you that, and he made an incredible play to cause a turnover.
Yeah.
The guy can really play. And if I look at Micah Hyde and Tre'Davious White and, I look at all these other guys, I say to myself, it's a guy like Micah Hyde who's going to have to make if you are the Bills, how do you match up with Tyreek Hill? That's not man coverage.
No.
So you're going to have to have Tremaine Edmonds make a play, or somebody's going to have to make an incredible play for this Bills defense to succeed and to hold up.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
I just don't know that you can do that. And I look at guys like Jerry Hughes and Ed Oliver. Josh Norman's another guy. Josh Norman is low-key. He's a corner on the Buffalo Bills. I don't know how many people realize that. Mm-hmm. That's a guy who knows how to play. Great punch-out for a fumble last week.
Yep, veteran play.
You look at that play, they have guys who know how to make plays. The question is, it doesn't matter because Patrick Mahomes has time and space. He's going to kill you.
Well, yeah, we'll see, man. I don't disagree with what you're saying at all. But these are the things that the Bills know that they have to deal with. And to this point, and this is why I give them a little bit more, credit and a little bit more of a chance in this game than prior teams against the Chiefs. To this point, they've been able to make plays defensively. When they've needed that bigger play defensively, they've gotten it. Whether it is that punch out or any number of plays, they've been able to create a turnover or two every single game, and that's kept them in games because they go down and score. So will that happen this week? I don't know, because you can't create a fumble if Tyreek Hill just ran by you for 10 yards, So that's why I say they got to make things happen defensively.
That little sweeping cross to the hash.
From the slot, left to right.
Aaron Rodgers. Well, and the difference is Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, Patrick Mahomes, and Tyreek Hill run almost the exact same play. And it's, hey, put this guy in the slot, run him across the formation, and he's going to be open when he gets to the opposite hash. Mm-hmm. And Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers are making a living on that.
Yep.
And everybody has seen it on tape, and nobody's stopping it.
Nope.
This Bills secondary may be the one that can stop it. That might be the one thing that could separate the two teams. I'm not saying that the Bills will be in the game in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Josh Allen is going to have to stand up against the blitz and deliver, and he's one of the highest-rated passers against the blitz.
And he never turns the football over.
I'm just telling you, these games are going to be really close. Make sure you follow us on YouTube, The Monty Show, Monty, The Monty Show, hell, anywhere you want to find us. Subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Find our podcast anywhere you get your podcast. Thank you to everybody who listens on Spotify. Spotify sent me a little email the other day, talking about how we've surpassed certain metrics. I can't even remember what it was, but congratulating us on that. This show is growing, and it's only growing because you guys are listening to it every day, and we appreciate that. Anywhere you want content, just search The Monty Show. Monty, The Monty Show, and you will find us. Please, please, please. I'm begging you now. Like I'm on my knees. I'm not. That's a lie. But pretend I'm on my knees begging you. You probably shouldn't pretend that because then it becomes a fantasy. Anyway, the point is,
I want it.
I'm begging you. You're thirsty. Please hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Real quick, couple NFL stories. Mm-hmm. How about your guy?
Which guy?
Dwayne Haskins, the guy you said was going to be all-pro and was going to be the next Tom Brady?
Well, yeah, he is as a Steeler.
And he's your mom's favorite player?
Yeah.
That got cut by the Redskins because he was lazy, fat, and he went to parties without a mask?
He went to the club, okay?
Oh, I'm sorry. He got that bouncing Tektronic booty dropped on him at the club while I was eating wings, I'm sure. He's a Pittsburgh Steeler. Mm-hmm. You surprised by this?
I am a little surprised, yes, but I think it's a great move. The guy's got all the talent in the world. Clearly, it's not an on-the-field issue. It's an off-the-field discipline issue. And so, look, if there was ever an organization that could do it, right? Like, because not every organization can handle guys like this. The Steelers are an organization that can do it. You know, they don't have issues off the field. You know, obviously you had the AB and the Le'Veon situation, but that was a little different. That was contract stuff. You know, that's a different situation. They haven't had a guy who's had all these off the field issues in quite some time. And so when I look at the fact that Ben is pretty much done, I don't know if that's official or not yet, but you know, he's pretty much at the end of the line. I look at Dwayne and I'm like, hey, why can't he step in? Why can't he come in here and revitalize his career? I think he's got a huge opportunity in front of him.
I think Ben is done. I do. I think he is done. I think that he is past his prime, and I think Pittsburgh realizes they need to move on.
Yeah.
I think they had a wonderful season, but you have to start when your quarterback is the age that Ben Roethlisberger is, and he's not in great physical shape, let's be honest. I think it's only natural to look at what's next. We're saying the same thing about Aaron Rodgers, who's playing probably his best football, and they have what's next. Yeah. Why are the Steelers any different? I don't think they are. They have nothing to lose by this signing.
Yep.
And hopefully, if you're the Steelers, and what you're hoping is that Dwayne Haskins is like, wow, I got my second life here. Let's go to work. Right? That's what you're hoping.
Well, if he's not saying that, you got an issue. I mean, because he should be saying that. I mean, if you're not grateful for the fact that you got a second opportunity in the league, something's wrong with you.
Yeah. All right. Let's switch gears, talk a little NBA real quick, because I want to play some sound from Shaquille O'Neal, otherwise known as Shaq Diesel, the daddy. One of my favorite athletes I've ever covered. I had the great fortune of being around Shaq. I think he's matriculated into that was a big word.
That was a big word for you.
Into an incredible analyst. I think he's brought a lot of flavor to the NBA on TNT. And last night he had an interesting exchange with some dude named Spida, Donovan Mitchell and Shaq on TNT last night.
You are one of my favorite players, but you don't have what it takes to get to the next level. I said it on purpose. I want you to hear it. What do you have to say about that?
All right. That's it.
That's it?
All right. That's it.
Cool.
I mean, I've been hearing that since my rookie year. You know, I'm just going to get better and do what I do.
Do it.
At the end of the day.
Well, that's what I want you to hear you say. Love the game, brother. Keep it up.
Appreciate it.
All right.
You got to play that again, number one. This is amazing. This is the NBA on TNT. Donovan Mitchell, after sweeping a 2-game set from the second coming of Christ in Zion Williamson, except he's a lot fatter than Jesus is. Anyway, the point is, no offense to real fat Jesus, but you know. And this is awkward now. Here's, speaking of awkward, Shaq and Spida Mitchell after the game again.
You are one of my favorite players, but you don't have what it takes to get to the next level. I said it on purpose. I want you to hear it. What do you have to say about that?
All right. That's it.
That's it?
All right. That's it.
Cool.
I mean,
I want you to hear it.
I've been hearing that since my rookie year. You know, I'm just going to get better and do what I do.
Do it.
At the end of the day.
Well, that's what I want you to hear you say. Love the game, brother. Keep it up.
Appreciate it.
Wow. Thanks to our friends at TNT. Do you buy it? Do you believe it? Do you agree with it? I right now, I do agree with it. Today, right now, I don't think that Donovan Mitchell is a fully formed, completed product. We've seen this with every elite performer in the NBA. I have vivid memories of Michael Jordan losing to Boston after scoring 700 points in Game 5 or whatever it was. I have vivid memories of Kobe shooting up air balls. I want to say it was against the Jazz when he was a young Laker. I remember that. Every great player goes through this right here. The difference is guys like Michael and Kobe didn't have Chris Brickley.
Mm-hmm.
The difference is Donovan Mitchell every offseason works with Chris Brickley, and every season comes back with something new. We're seeing a guy that now is an elite three-point shooter.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing a guy now who has turned into an unbelievable basketball player because his footwork has improved exponentially. But the difference now is he has no help. And I know that this has been something that has frustrated Jazz fans, and I know we've talked about this on Twitter a lot, but I don't know how to say it any more clearly than this team is just not that good. And I know, again, that they're, 11-4 now, and
they're doing well.
They're one
right
of the top teams in the West, but what does it matter? What does it truly matter when you're sweeping a 2-game set from a very vanilla average Pelicans team?
Yeah.
What does that matter? And you feel good, that's great, but you don't have a number 2 option. You are relying on guys like Royce O'Neal. You're relying on Derek Favors, right? You're relying. Donovan Mitchell makes this great, double crossover last night. Thank God Derek Favors can finish that, because you can't throw that pass to Rudy Gobert.
Right.
Right? You're relying on a guy like Rudy Gobert. It is one of these things where Rudy Gobert at some point becomes a liability to you.
Mm-hmm.
And that point is now. Because I'll say again, this contract is a mistake. Is it going to kill you? No. Is it going to help you win a championship or prevent you from that? Yes, it will. And you're going to wind up trading this contract this offseason. It's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm telling you now, Spida Mitchell's going to get to a point where he's going to say, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm giving you 1,000%. I'm giving you everything that I've got, and it's not good enough. It's not nearly good enough, because we're not the Rockets. Last year we're not, we're not the Lakers, we're not the Clippers,
right.
We're not the Nuggets in the bubble.
Yeah.
They're battling all these different years. We're knocking off OKC, it's not good enough. We're knocking off the Rockets, it's not good enough. You can't get past the Nuggets last year.
Mm-hmm.
You're not getting past the Clippers or the Lakers this year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because you're relying on guys like Niang. You're relying on guys like Royce O'Neal. You're relying on an aged and beat up, Derek Favors, who I love. I mean, he plays a great role.
Yeah.
But he's more than a role player on this team, and that's a problem. And I can only say it so many times. Bogdanovich is too damn inconsistent, and I don't believe in him. I don't know if it's going in every time he shoots it.
Right.
I think every time Don shoots it, it's going in.
Yeah.
It's going in.
Yeah.
The problem is, it's cool that Jordan Clarkson gave you, 18 points off the bench last night? He doesn't play much defense, even though he tries, and the guy doesn't pass. That's not a formula to win.
Right.
And he's your only asset off the bench, right? I look at Joe Ingles. I don't understand why Joe Ingles isn't starting. And I know he was starting, and they've experimented, and Royce O'Neal might as well not be here. I don't know how else to say it.
Right.
He might as well not be here. And for every Jazz fan who busted my balls over the Rodney Hood, the Dante Exum, the Trey Lyles, and I don't care if you turn Trey Lyles into Spida Mitchell, you screwed those drafts up. Those are 3 guys, Trey Burke, those are 4 guys that are killing you.
There's some guy named Devin Booker right now in Phoenix.
But it's not even that. It's 4 in 5 years where you were in the lottery, you suffered and you sucked. And this is where it's coming back to roost, because you don't have depth. You don't have the Favors and Hayward combo anymore.
Right.
You add more in Favors and Hayward than you have in Donovan with everybody else.
Right.
You haven't gotten better. After all of this pain and all of these maturations, you haven't gotten better. And it's time to frickin' realize that. It's time to stop saying, oh, this is cool, man. This isn't Larry H. Miller anymore. He's not... Unfortunately, Mr. Miller passed away. He's not sitting in half court anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, this isn't Frank Layden anymore. This isn't Stockton and Malone anymore. Stop fantasizing like it is and realize there's a new young owner in this organization, and I hope heads roll. With all due respect, I don't know that Quinn Snyder's the guy that wins a championship for the Utah Jazz.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's been here for 7 years.
Yeah. It's hard for me to really say much more, because you said it perfectly. They're just, Jazz fans want to say, like I saw on Twitter last night, a Jazz fan was like, well, Rudy's, win difference is plus 20. When the Jazz when he's on the floor playing, they're plus 20 wins. And it's like, that's cool. That means you get to the postseason. But then when you play the Lakers and you play all the teams you got to beat in the West that are top of the table teams, you're not beating them.
It doesn't mean anything.
Like you're not where you need to be. This team, it's not good enough just to get to the postseason anymore. It's just not. Like, what's good enough is let's get to the Western Conference Finals, right? Like, let's not go out in the second round. Let's get to the finals. Let's get there. I'd be totally fine. Honestly, I'd be totally fine if they got to the NBA Finals and lost. I'd be totally fine with that. That's
because
cool.
that's advancement.
That's advancement. That's a step forward, but you're never getting there. You're not good enough. And so, yeah, I agree with you. With a new owner, hey, do what you do, man. Revitalize this roster because it needs it.
I look at their wins, and this is probably where a lot of Jazz fans are going to get annoyed with me, but fine. New Orleans. Denver's a nice win, right? Atlanta, Cleveland, Detroit, Milwaukee's a nice win. All right, so in those 7 games right there, you've got 2 quality wins, in my opinion. San Antonio, the Clippers in early January, a week into the season, that's a good win.
Yeah, it's still a good win.
All right, so 3 of 10.
Everybody was a week in the season. Yeah.
3 of 10, right? But you lose to Phoenix. You lose back-to-back to Brooklyn and New York. And that's pre-James Harden, pre-Kyrie Irving, KD, right? I just don't think you know if you're a good team yet. And I think you're coming into a stretch where you're not going to find out because it's Golden State, New York, Dallas, all of those are at home. All of them are at home. You don't go back out on the road until next week at Denver. That's a really important game. You need to win that game against Denver.
Yeah.
It's time to put Denver in the rear view, frankly. They have a better big man than you do, but I think you have a better guard than they do.
I would agree.
So you should be better than Denver. But, Detroit, then the road trip, Atlanta, Charlotte, Indiana. Those are 3 games that are going to be very difficult.
Yeah.
Because Atlanta's playing well. LaMelo Ball is invigorated Charlotte.
Yeah. It's fun to watch him.
Yeah. All right. I feel better. That was like a bloodletting.
Whew! Man, all right, man. Gotta cool off over here,
It was like a bloodletting.
Yeah,
Can we talk about the Bernie Sanders meme real quick?
Yes.
Our man, Real Fat Jesus, hooked us up. Like, I was chilling at the cut. Mrs. Monty was doing her wifely duties, which meant we were cooking dinner together. Get your mind out of the gutter. This is
with your wife?
Yeah, this is a family show. Okay? Get your mind out of the gutter. The point is, we were making dinner together last night, and Real Fat Jesus sent over the Bernie meme. And I didn't even know this. Did you know that Bernie Sanders was sitting right between us on the show yesterday?
I had no idea, bro.
I had no idea.
I wish we would have known. I'd have put him on,
But that Bernie meme is probably the best indicator of what is happening on social media and the power of social media right now.
Right.
We as a society took something out of the inauguration that was so innocuous and just not meaningful. The fact that Bernie buys his coats at Walmart, and I thought the best meme
damn
was
mittens, dude.
I thought the best meme was, hey, I got to go to this thing for Joe. I got to stop because he had a bunch of mail in his hand. It looked like I got to stop by the post office. And then I'm going to go home and I got to make some spaghetti, right? Like, that's what that meme looks like because it looks like he bought his coat at Walmart. By the way, he had on designer gloves that are handmade. I don't know how many people realize this. The lady who makes those gloves is now sold out. The power of social media. So the reason I bring this up is because the Bernie Sanders meme is about a lot more than the Bernie Sanders meme itself.
Right.
It's indicative of how social media works. The millions and millions and millions and millions of shares. Whether it's, I thought the best one was, Bernie Sanders, being the secret message inside of C-3PO, I thought was amazing. But Bernie being sat with everybody and everywhere, like being sat on the beach in a Corona commercial, yes. I saw that one. Like, just everywhere. I think it's fantastic because it sold gloves. It sold that jacket, right? By the way, Bernie Sanders has never had a better profile with millennials than he has the last 3 days.
Right.
That's the power of social media.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that with young folks was they felt like he was trolling the inauguration a little bit, just showing up. Like, he wasn't wearing like a nice ass suit and like he wasn't all dressed
My
up
wife
like everyone
points
else.
out that jacket is Burton brand.
Yeah, like I mean, it's not
See,
like
I
he rolled up like in Gucci or anything.
And Burton, by the way, I didn't know it was Burton, but I know the coat is not available anymore as well. The coat and the gloves he was wearing are unavailable, sold out.
Yeah, man.
So, my point is, that's the power of social media. The power of social media is Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Donald Trump built a presidency and a presidential campaign on social media. Ultimately, at the end of the day, there was an incredible clapback, and it came back to bite him in the ass,
Right.
or the mushroom head, depending on who you believe.
Mm-hmm.
It came back to get him, but he built a presidency on Twitter.
Yeah.
So I think there are a lot of people who are not comfortable being on social media. If you are not using Instagram, and we talk about small business all the time,
Yeah.
if you are not using Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, platforms like Yelp, platforms like Google, if you are not involved in the Google suite of products as a consumer or a business owner, you're missing out. There are vital tools there. Now, they're going to change because Google's going to get broken up. Alphabet's going to get broken up. There's no doubt about it. But right now, what Google offers and Yelp offers and Twitter offers and Insta offers, I think Facebook's fading. I
would agree.
I think the Facebook is where you go to put an ad and where you don't go so you avoid ads. And your cousin Edna's family reunion, you want to see those pictures, go to Facebook, right? When you want to truly interact on a personal level with people, you go to Twitter or Instagram.
Yeah.
And really on that personal interaction, it's Instagram. When you want to spout out, and be a Twitter tough guy, you go to Twitter.
Dude, Twitter tough guys though.
Right?
I mean, dude, come on.
But that's the power of social media. And I don't think that should be lost on people. And I think if we learned anything out of Joe Biden's inauguration, the Bernie Sanders meme is the biggest lesson of all.
Well, and I think the thing for me is like the power of social media can go both ways. I mean, every single day it felt like for the last 4 years we were hearing about Trump tweeted some ridiculous thing and then that got shared a gazillion times.
Your mom, his cousin.
Yeah, like, dude, come on, man. Like, these are all, what he's tweeting is not true. But then, so you feel negative about that. But then the Bernie thing happens and it's the laugh we all needed because we were seeing it all over every platform.
But it's not that what he tweeted wasn't true. It is true that all he tweeted usually was lies. The power of social media meant it was true.
Right.
They were lies that then morphed into truth, which is why we have QAnon, which is why we have Proud Boys, which is why we had an insurrection and a coup attempt at the Capitol.
Right.
Where did all that go? That went to Parler and Twitter. There are over 130 people now in FBI custody because of social media.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not only did they plan and execute the insurrection, well, they also videotaped themselves and posted it on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
Idiots.
Now there's over 130 people. And this is not an exaggeration. There's 139 people or something like that.
Right.
In FBI custody. And 99% of those are being prosecuted based on their own social media postings.
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing.
Yeah.
The power of social media.
It's crazy, dude.
And it has been, those who have supported the insurrection and the coup attempt, a lot of them posted on Facebook. There's a realtor, and my wife first pointed this out to me. This realtor was begging Donald Trump for a pardon because she's now a felon and she cannot have a real estate license. I don't know how many people realize this. Misdemeanor or felony, if you are charged with a misdemeanor or a felony, your real estate license is immediately suspended.
Yeah.
Until it's adjudicated. If you are convicted or plead to a misdemeanor or a felony, you can never be a realtor again. They pull your real estate license forever.
It's rough, man.
This real estate agent went to the insurrection, stood at the base of the Capitol steps, and was like, essentially, oh, fuck Biden, Donald Trump for life, bitches. By the way, I'm Tammy Richards, your realtor from Richardson, Texas. Call me now to find out what your home is worth and how quickly I can sell it. QAnon, motherfuckers! And she posts this on social media. She gets arrested. They immediately suspend her license. She's saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Please pardon me. By the way, I'm not your realtor, and I can't tell you how much your house is worth."
No.
Like, hey, by the way, lady, nobody's ringing your phone to be represented by you. You're never going to be a realtor again, and you're changing your name to Karen. Like,
That's what it is.
That's your legacy now.
It's what it is.
Anyways, real quick, because we only got about 2 minutes left here. The Mega Millions is $970 million.
Mm-hmm.
I live in Utah.
Right.
So I drive to Evanston in downpouring rain and snow tonight to make sure that I get probably $50-$60 worth of Mega Millions tickets so I can be a $970 millionaire, which at the end of the day is $450 or $465 million. Oh, those taxes. What a bummer. Oh, you don't want your $465 million? I'll take it. Just go ahead and, you don't want to pay those taxes? Just hand them over to me.
Yeah.
Right? First thing you're doing if you win the Mega Millions. Well, you won't go with us, so you're not going to get a ticket. But first thing you do if you win.
Why you gotta hate? See, why you gotta do that?
Hey, man. Mo Bettas is calling. What's the first thing you're doing if you win the Mega Millions?
Opening a business, like turning that money into more money.
You know what I'm doing the first thing? Nothing different. I'm not telling a soul. Mm-hmm. I'm not quitting my job. I am probably hiring a lawyer, and I already have a financial planner. I'm calling my financial planner. And I'm going to keep it status quo. I'm not telling my friends. I'm not telling my family. Now, when I tell you, hey, we've talked about this, and the thing that I think we'd probably do is we wouldn't tell anybody. Like, we keep doing the podcast. Mm-hmm. We might buy some people some things. We might help some people with some things. Mm-hmm. But if I win the Mega Millions and you call me and you're like, hey, bro, we're best friends. Remember me from third grade?
Nope.
No. I'm not giving you money. If you call me and ask me, I'm not doing it.
Right.
I'm just not.
Right.
And you know what? This is probably going to come off harsh. I'm not tithing a penny of it. I'm not giving my money away. Right? I will be debt free. I will open multiple small businesses. Mm-hmm. I will have probably 2 homes.
Right.
I will probably have 6 or 7 cars.
Right.
And at that point, if you win $400 million,
right.
If you walk away with $400 million, I don't care what my wife says. I'm going to have 5-6 cars.
Because it's all part of the plan.
I will likely build a custom home that'll be no more than 3,000 square feet. Mm-hmm. That's the square footage of the garage, by the way. But anyway, the point is, I'm not going to have some big-ass house. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to live some luxurious lifestyle. Frankly, I have a beautiful townhome that I would probably renovate, and I wouldn't change a thing.
Right.
Honestly. And I'd probably rent it out, and I'd go build a custom home that has garages, a gym, a workout area. Right. I'd probably have an indoor basketball court because I love playing.
Right.
But I wouldn't have 5,000 square feet.
Right.
I wouldn't.
Well, you probably need 5,000 square feet if you want all that.
Yeah, but my point, no. My point is like livable space.
Right.
I don't understand people who are like, oh, we're 67 years old and we've won the lottery. Let's go build 10,000 square feet and have 18 bathrooms that the Secret Service can't use.
If you guys ever want to kick it, we'll flow.
Kick it, we'll flow. Like, it's just not normal.
Right.
It's not normal. So, right. I don't know, man. Fat Jesus says, when I win the Mega Millions, I'm hiring you two to do your podcast for 3 hours a day, live in my living room every day. Hey, man, we available. Do we have to do a background check for that, or can we just come, chill at the
Yeah, are we going to be W-2s, or what are we looking at here?
Yeah, are we I-9, W-2?
Yeah.
Find us on YouTube and subscribe to The Monty Show. MONTY, The Monty Show. Hope you win some money this weekend. Don't play the Mega Millions, but bet on football, and we'll talk to you Monday. Until Monday, say congratulations on winning the lottery, Monty.
Congratulations on winning the lottery, Pops.